Hello, gentle people, and welcome to another Sparrow Art Vibes video tutorial. If this is your first time visiting my channel, I'm Hazel, a retired educator turned resin artist, entrepreneur, and every week I share how I create the products that I sell in my Etsy shop and my Shopify store. One of the things I really love to create is charcuterie boards, and I have sold several charcuterie boards with matching cheese tools. Some tools came recessed in the board and only needed to be decorated, like the ones you see here. And for other charcuterie boards, I actually purchased tools and added them to create a gift set, let's say. I happened to come across a cheese handle mold on Amazon so that I can now create handles in a wide range of colors and embellish them with things like seashells, crushed glass, glitter, basically whatever I want. I also found this storage mold, and I love that I can put these together. And by the way, if you see anything in a tutorial, please feel free to purchase it at sparrowartvibes.boutique. And also, if you are inspired by my videos, please do like, share, and of course, subscribe. So let's take a quick look at the materials that we need to make these cheese tools with a matching storage box. An idea that I just absolutely love. All right, gentle people, let's take a look at the materials that we will need to do our cheese knives with the storage box. The first thing we need is our cheese knife mold. This package had, I think, 3 different molds, but I'm using the one that actually has the appearance of like Swiss cheese. So we need our cheese handle mold. Okay, and then we need the silicone mold for the storage box. Interestingly enough, this comes with 4 tools, but that mold only has 3, go figure. And this is the lid that goes on that. So when you put these in here, then you can actually cover it. To go with those resin handles, we actually need the cutlery tools, blades. There are 5 different pieces in here. We of course need our resin. My go-to resin is the Craft Smart. That's part A, resin. And we need the part B, hardener. Because of the volume of resin I'm using for the storage container, I need a large measuring cup. And then I have the smaller measuring cup. I'll need the large stir stick here. 2 colors of mica powder, so I need 2 paper cups. And then I'll need 3 stir sticks. We need our nitrile gloves. The resin that I'm going to be using is the Mayspring Purple Amethyst. Put that in there. And the Eye Candy Oriya Gold. This is real sparkly. It's really pretty. And then I am going to be using something brand new that I have never used before. I've taken it out of the package and read the directions. So I am going to be using, to attach the blades to the resin handles, I am going to be using J. Diction New Formula UV resin. I have never used UV resin before. So we're going to be using the J. Diction new formula UV resin, and in order to use that resin you have to have a UV light. So this is the light that came with the kit. So this is our UV light to go with our UV resin, and you have to plug it in with this little cord, and then it comes with these little bowls, and we won't actually need these for what I'm doing, but just telling you what's in the kit. So I believe that's all we need. So let's clear this out the way and let's get this party started. Okay, so we're getting ready to pour these handles. Two small minor changes. I am going to be using the smallest measuring cup I have, and I am going to be using 2 small cups because I hadn't measured to see how much resin I needed for this. And each one of these takes 20 milliliters, so 2, 4, 6. 60 milliliters means I can use this cup. So let me clean it off and mark it. Okay, so I have marked my cup as I always do. And so we need 30 milliliters of the Part B hardener. And 30 milliliters of the Part A resin. I always remind crafters to follow the manufacturer's instructions because it does vary from brand to brand. The Craftsmart resin tells us that we should be doing mixing in equal amounts. So we have a ratio of 1:1, which is why we did 30 and 30. And then it tells us that we need to mix slowly for a minimum of 5 minutes. So that's what we're going to do. So you don't need to actually watch me mix this resin, but I'm going to turn on the timer and then I will fast forward. All right, so we are going to divide this resin into these 2 cups. And that looks to be about equal. I happen to like these little cups with the little lines on them because they're good for measuring. And we're going to add some Oriya Gold to 1 cup. This reminds me of when they talk about gold dust back in the gold rush days. And I don't necessarily need it to be really dark. This is more of an accent. So again, this is our Oriya Gold. And then we're going to do the other cup with the purple amethyst. And again, this May Spring mica powder is so rich that you really only need that little bit. You probably don't even need that much for the amount of resin that I'm working with. That's probably deeper than I wanted it, because this goes a little bit of this goes a long way. you start to develop some brand loyalty. You work with different brands. Buying sampler packs is a wonderful thing because you get to see the differences in the resin, whether or not how the resin mixes. Does it blend really quickly and evenly, or does it like float around and take some time? After you mix it, do you have the little particles sitting on the surface? And then the depth of the color. The depth of the color. So we are simply going to put this mold right here, and I am going to pour this the way I pour my dominoes. I am going to pour 2 colors at one time. And here's my thinking. Because, see on the bottom, oh, you can't see there. See inside the mold? See the little piece sticking up? That's going to be the hole that the blade goes into. Let me see. What did I do with those? Okay. When you actually demold this, that piece that's sticking up is going to be an opening for the blade to go in like that. And since the blade is going in here, I want my darker color at the bottom and my gold at the top. That way I make sure you cannot see the blade inside the resin. So that's just my thinking. I want the dark color at the bottom, the light color at the top. So we are going to pour this. And they don't have to be perfectly even. Again, I just want to make sure that the dark is on the bottom. And I am just noticing that each of these molds is different. How come I didn't see that the first time? I have a little bit of resin left in this cup. Let me mix this. It's probably not enough. I think I am going to have to mix a little more resin simply because I did not realize that these molds were not exactly the same. I need about 20, probably only need 10 more milliliters. Let's see. Okay, I rarely make an error. I rarely make an error as to how much resin I need because I always measure first. But as I said, what I did not pay attention to is that I measured in this one, and this has a cutout, and that's full. So these don't have the same amount. So, but we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that by adding a little more. Well, that's really at the top. I want to make sure I'm all the way up to the rim. Okay, there we go. That looks better. And I kind of like it right at the rim. Right at the rim, maybe a tad higher I'd rather have it higher than have it low, than have it sunken. All right, so then we need to just put our heat guns to this and pop all of those bubbles. And let me just say, sometimes when you have bubbles, you may need to take a toothpick and go along that edge. This edge has some bubbles that need to, they're stubborn. Isn't that funny? Stubborn bubbles. Stubborn bubbles. I don't know why I'm stirring that. Actually, maybe change the, will that change the pattern of that? Oh, you know what? Let's do that. Let's see if it does. It may not look the same on the front as it does on the back. Anybody who's worked with resin knows. I don't know if that's moving on the front like it is on the back. But yeah, there you go. One more hit with the gun. And then we'll just cover these. And then once these are done, we will work on the storage box. I am back, and I am going to unmold this before I go to bed. So we take the cover off. You will remember I ran the little swirls, took my little toothpick and did a little swirl thing. That's what the front looked like, and we weren't sure whether or not what we did on the front would show up on the back, so let's find out. Let's unmold these and see what we've got. And if I sound like I'm talking too loud, that's because they are working, doing construction work outside on the street, replacing the gas lines in my neighborhood. And so I'm trying to talk over the sound of the equipment outside. So let's get these out of here. All right, so that is the back side, and oh, that's pretty. That's the front side. So it does look sort of like a cheese, piece of Swiss cheese there. That's the back side. And again, that color where we dragged that toothpick through there, that did not show up on the other side. Okay, back of that one. And there you go. That's beautiful. And the back of that one, and if we turn it over, that's what we get. So the edges of these are just slightly rough, so you know I grab my Dremel and I just sand these edges down smooth so they're, you know, comfortable to the touch. Let me grab my vacuum. Actually, I need to replace that. Do that now. FYI, in case you are buying these sanding bands, which go on the end of my Dremel, or if you are buying sanding blocks, I use these instead of sandpaper. It's just easier for me to handle. You'll notice the number on that end that says 220. That one says 80. Okay, so just for your information, these numbers represent the grit. Not how many pieces are in these bags. This is 80, 120, 180, 240. And basically, the lower the number, the more coarse. In fact, maybe you can even hear. If I don't know, can you hear that? that's very coarse. That has a few large pieces of sand or whatever these things are made out of. When you get up here to the 240, you can barely hear that. That's got a lot of sand on it, and this is for a really fine finish. So just be aware. The lower the number, the more coarse this is, and this is really for removing. This is if you're trying to remove something. This is actually when you're finishing something, when you want a really nice smooth edge. This is to remove, and this is to finish. Just some trivia there. All right, let me get these out the way, and let's do these edges. And a lot of times when you sand your item, if it's a dark color like this purple, then you, oh, I've got dust all over my hands, hold on. Okay, so what I was saying, if you sand the edges, a lot of times if it's a dark color in particular, you wind up with this white edge on here. And so we take our gloss varnish. This is a staple in my studio, and we just take that gloss varnish. I'm not even going to put it in a container. I'm just going to put it right on my brush right here, and then we are just going to go over that edge, and that white completely disappears. Now, I actually was watching a woodworking, a guy doing one of the river pours, and he recommended using clear nail polish. I personally prefer the gloss varnish because I know it's permanent. Okay, so you can't tell that edge was ever sanded. Actually, that's a little rough. Let me sand this some more. Those were actually, I think you will recall me saying that you need to take a toothpick and go around the edge of your mold sometimes if you see stubborn air bubbles. And that's what this was. These are air bubbles. And when you sand them, then you leave like little crevices here because you sand the top off. And again, because your molds are usually have a gloss finish, you want to make sure you're buying the gloss varnish, not like a satin finish. I'm sorry I'm taking so long to do this, but so give those a couple of minutes to dry. And I'll go rinse off my brush. Alright, so now it's time for us to attach our accessories. Again, this package came with 5, and I'm only using 3. One, we won't use that one, we'll use that one, and we'll use that one. Okay, so I have never used this product. I have never used UV resin before. This will be my first time. So let me get these out. And UV resin works using a UV light. And this is the one that came with my kit. And so you pull the little legs out like so. And so I am doing this exactly the way I saw it done on the video for making these. So we are going to open our UV resin. We are going to push some, squeeze some on the inside here. We are going to squeeze some around the outside here and in the middle there. And then we are going to put the cap on. This is messy. This is messy. Put the cap on, put the blade in, and then turn on our UV light. Now the interesting thing is they are saying use the UV light, and yet I looked at several videos on how to use UV resin, and all of them talked about making sure that the molds you're using are clear as opposed to white to make sure that the UV rays can get through. They also said if you are adding any kind of color to your UV resin, particularly a dark color, that you will need to expose it to the light several times in order for those rays to penetrate that darker color. And so I was kind of surprised when I saw this. Oh, did I let this get stuck to this? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Shinny. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. All right, so let me just let you know that this does come with a silicone mat. Where's the mat? If I say I haven't done something, I have not done it. It does come with this silicone mat, and now you see why, because I got stuck right there. Let's turn this over. Well, actually, let me see if I can scrape that. Let's see if I can scrape this off of here first. All right, so let's put it under the light again. This is 60 seconds. It feels secure. Let's do it a little bit longer again, because this is metal. I'm not entirely sure how the light is penetrating the metal. That's what I don't understand, but that's what they say do, so that's what I'm doing. So there's that one, and again I have to obviously wipe it off, clean it up. So let's do the next one. I've already taken these pieces out. So again, we're going to do what we just did. We are going to put our J-Diction, what a name, J-Diction. Around the edges here and around the edges here, and then on the inside. Whee! It's very thin. Press that down. Press that in. And then let's turn on our light. Alright, we're going to do it again. As I said, to have this light penetrate through that metal, I'm not entirely sure about the science on that. Alright, and then we're going to turn this over, and we are going to put the light on the other side. One more time again. Alright, so that looks good. Just a little bit of resin. Some resin around the... Oh gosh. Oh, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. How to get that. Oh, shinny. Okay, so the one thing I'm going to have to make sure that I do is clean that before I put the light on it. But there's that one. Is that steady? Yeah, that's steady. Okay, so let's do the last one. We're going to put the little fork here. This formula, whatever you call this stuff, is very thin, very liquidy, has high, what's the word? Viscosity. It's very liquidy. So we're going to put that on there. We're going to, and make sure when you put this on that you do turn this so that it's straight. So let's wipe off the excess this time before we put it under the light. Make sure that is straight. Is it straight? It is straight. All right, and then our light. Going to turn this over. If you are used to using UV resin and this little light board, maybe you can tell me how to change the time. This is 60, 90, and 150 seconds. This only does 60. Maybe it comes that way. I don't know if when I bought it I was supposed to pick the strength that I needed, but this is 60. If someone can tell me how to change that, I'd appreciate it. All right. So there are our 3 tools. And obviously I have to wipe them off, but there you go. There are the 3 tools that you can use when you are entertaining and serving different cheeses. I will put in the description what each of these is used for, but there you go. So now what we need to do is get rid of this, and then we can make the holder. Is that straight? Yeah, I guess it is. we can make the holder that these go in. All right, so that was using the J. Diction new formula UV resin, and it says hard type. Again, I don't know anything about UV resin, so I'm not trying to like talk about it because I don't know. So I don't even know what hard type means. I don't even know what new formula is, but that's it. That's how you attach the accessories to your resin handles. These are cool because again, you can add any kind of embellishment in this. You can add seashells, you can add, well, I do seashells, I do crushed glass, I do stones mostly. I do some glitter. This is not glitter. This is the Oriya Gold mica powder. I did not put glitter in this. This is the way this mica powder comes. So let's move this out the way. So here what, instead of me purchasing these in the store, taping them off and putting them on my cup turner, I can now simply make the ones that I want in whatever color I want. So again, this gives you some options, some choice, but you can see these were store-bought and these were done in resin. All right, gentle people, I am back and I am here to now mix the resin and pour the fill the molds for the storage container. The other thing that I'm going to do, since this has 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces and our mold only had 3, I'm also going to make one more tool, one more cheese tool. So the first thing we need to do is mix our resin. And of course, I'm always saying you don't have to watch me do this. But I always try to make sure that I include every step, because often people will be at home trying to do something and it won't work out, and it's because I didn't show they didn't know something that they should have done, even as simple as how much resin to use. So we need 600 milliliters. My large measuring cup is already marked at 300 and 600. So let's get this poured. So 300 of the Part B hardener, 300 milliliters. And 300 milliliters of the Part A resin. And of course, we know that we mix for 5 minutes, so I'll start the timer and then you can just fast forward through this. Okay, so we're going to keep this really simple. We are going to do the lid just in gold. No purple in here, just the gold. All right, so I am going to do the lid in gold. Now, one change, in between doing the cheese tools and getting started on this, I was working on a chess and checker set for a customer, and they wanted bling. That's what she said, bling. And I used the Oriya Gold that I'm using today, but I also added some gold holographic glitter some gold holographic glitter, and so that's what I'm going to do now. So for the lid we need 250 milliliters, and that's to the top here. So we are going to pour 250 milliliters. And then our Oriya gold. This is so sparkly and so pretty. And I don't normally mix colors in my measuring containers, because sometimes if it doesn't dry properly it's hard to get out. But I'm doing it this time just because I don't have a cup that's 250 milliliters. So we're going to do the Oriya gold, but I'm going to add the gold holographic glitter. I am adding this, and it just says gold. It is from the Recollections collection. So not a whole lot because this is really pretty, but just to give it some woo. And this is the lid, so. And again, we're just keeping this simple. Let me see if I can move that there. Let me see, I need to move some stuff around here. So again, our lid is just one color gold. And we're just going to pour that in there. And then for the bottom, I'm going to do the top in gold and the bottom in purple. So we're going to pour a little bit of gold in here. And this is just an accent, wee. And add our Oriya. We're again working with our Oriya gold. We're going to add that to this. And I am not putting any glitter in this because this will be on the bottom and the glitter always sinks to the bottom. This is not that floating glitter. This holographic glitter is going to sink to the bottom, so it'll be on the top when you flip this over. So we're not going to waste glitter there. And let's add our purple. Yeah, so we just want that top rim edge to be gold. And we're going to add our purple. And again, this is the May Spring Purple Amethyst, probably one of the truer purples. And what you can see in this container is how much mica powder is left on the sides. So that's the good thing about using clear containers, as you can see. So we get to see all the mica powder that's left on the sides there. All right. because I am going to pour some of this into this other mold, I'm going to add a little more gold to this so that the colors better match. The one thing about doing stuff in separate pours, you never match the colors. Never. I don't care how precise you measure. Let me show you. I even broke down and bought measuring spoons for my mica powder. So we have a drop, a smidgen, a pinch, a dash, and a tad. Let me do these the other way. I use the term dash quite a bit, but a lot of times it's not really a dash. Sometimes it's a tad. But again, we have, let me move this. We have a drop, we have a smidgen. When you're cooking, your grandmother might say, just put a smidgen of something in there. It needs a pinch of salt, a dash of this, and a tad. I don't use these. I have them, I don't use them. All right, so I am going to quickly pour this before I pour that. I just decided it would look silly to unmold this and only put 3 tools in here when it has space for 4. Kind of foolish. All right, so like we did yesterday, we wanted the dark in the bottom. So I'm going to move this over here. And then now we're just going to pour this. Real quick, real easy, real simple. Let's just make sure this is mixed well. All right, so I want the purple along the bottom. So let's hit this with the heat gun. Oh, did I? Actually, this is where one of my little, got a little drop of purple in there. A little smidgen of purple. All right, heat gun. Anybody who's watched my videos knows my table is not level, so I'm just going to slide a stick under this edge over here. Slide a popsicle stick under there because that looks like it's right at the rim and I need it more even. Alright, that looks good. Alright, so I think I'm just going to make some more gold. Let's make some more gold. Alright, now I laid my measuring cup on the side, and I do this all the time because what you will discover, look how much resin is left in there. This is the resin that was on the sides. So when I turn my containers over, I always get the rest of the resin that's left in here. That's a lot of resin. that's a lot of resin once it runs down the sides, and so I don't waste anything. Somebody might think I'm cheap, but for what resin costs, I think it's well worth it. I just turn my containers on the sides and I let all of that drip down, and then I scrape it out of there. Alright, so we're going to pour some more gold in here and fill this a little more. Okay, and then heat gun. Right, that's that. We'll leave that until tomorrow. Do I have a cover big enough for this? Let's see. I think I do. Yep, there we go. So we will leave this to cure overnight, and then tomorrow put our pieces together. It is the next morning, so we are going to uncover this and unmold this and see what we're working with here. Okay, so let's start with the lid. Remember we added holographic glitter to the lid, so let's oh, you got the little thingies there. Oh. Okay, where the cover snaps to the, alright. See right there? Gotta get that out of there. Alright. Okay, so that's the back. And remember we added the holographic glitter to give it some bling. And so that's the front. That's very nice. That's very nice. Okay. And then with our bottom, touched this while it was wet, and that side is just indented a little bit. I hope it doesn't affect whether or not the lid fits properly. Once your stuff is starting to set, don't bother it. Let's see what we're working with. Alright, so that's our container. A big old piece of holographic glitter there. But that's kind of nice. That's really kind of nice. And so this should, let me see, where are the, this fits on here like so. Okay, yep, that fits nicely. Like so. So let's get these edges sanded. And this is nice and sturdy. I'll weigh this. Let me see if my scale, let's see if my scale is working today. Some days it has a mind of its own. That weighs a pound. Okay, so we need the Dremel. And of course, you know where we have that white edge from this being sanded, we then take our gloss varnish and get rid of that. Our DuraClear gloss varnish. And again, this does come in different finishes. It comes in gloss, it comes in satin, and it comes in matte. Because your resin is shiny, you want to make sure you're getting gloss. So let me just make sure you see what I'm talking about. That edge right there is white. So if we put a little bit of varnish on that edge, it's no longer white. Okay, now it's purple. You cannot see that. Alright, so let me sit down and do that. And again, you don't need enough varnish to really put it in a cup. I mean, you can put it in a cup if you want. For the amount of varnish I'm using, it's easier for me to just pour it from. So we'll let that dry. All right, so let's add a couple of bumps, rubber bumps. You know I love the 3M silicone rubber bumps, just to protect your table. Now, while I was waiting for the varnish to dry, I discovered something. Here's the thing. There are 5 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the lid or cover, and there are 5 corresponding holes on the bottom. Those holes are for magnets. So you should be able to put the magnets here, and then when you set the lid on here, it will stay in place. It's not going to slide off or anything because it would be magnetized. The magnets that I purchased are the wrong size, so I cannot attach the magnets in this video. But let's take a look at the tools and see how they fit. All right, this is the one, the extra one that I did. Oh, like that. That goes right in, goes right in, goes right in, goes right in. How cool is that? And then of course once they're in, then you put your lid on. And I think this is almost attractive enough that you could actually leave this on your dining room table if you wanted to. You don't